Welcome back to Live on 3, and I think it'll be agreed that it has been a very difficult week. South Africans have throughout the week expressed their emotions on a number of platforms, including social media networks, and we're going to invite you to please continue sharing your thoughts and feelings regarding the passing of Madiba and continue supporting each other through this very difficult time. And if you'd like to share your thoughts with us, you can do so at www.youtube.com/SABC3 Madiba. Otherwise, Twitter, www.twitter.com/SABC3 Madiba. Facebook, also www.facebook.co.za/SABC3 Madiba. So those are the various ways that we're encouraging you to share your thoughts with us, part of dealing with the loss that we are feeling as a country. We know that Mandela did dedicate his presidential life to integrating and improving the lives of fellow South Africans, and that's really the focus of the show this evening. Now, joining me here in the studio, just for something a little different, is Port Elizabeth-born Vusi Nova, and he has just released his second album. Is that right?
Yes, I have.
Calling
Walk
to Light.
into Light.
Walk into
Walk
Light.
into
Walk into
Light,
Light,
yes.
and you're going to be performing your song Calling.
Calling, that's right. Calling Madiba.
And just tell us a little about that song, because it has even greater significance for you, because it was actually written for your mother.
Yes, I mean, it's a track that I wrote for my late mother, who died in 2005. And basically for me, it was sort of my own little way of showing my appreciation of her, my love, my respect for her, and basically just saying, you know, that at the time when she was alive, she was always there for me. And it's just sort of me basically saying to her, even right now, even though she's gone, I still need her to sort of hold my hand and walk with me through my journey.
And this is your way
and I
of
thought to myself,
sharing.
yeah, and I thought to myself, I mean, why not? I mean, this is the best way to honor Utatu Mandela, you know, because he was an amazing human being. You know.
And just music as a form of healing. Do you
Yes.
find that it is a form of healing for us?
Definitely, man. I mean, I think music is everything. You know, I mean, I personally can't live without music. So definitely.
Feeling sad, feeling happy, you sing.
Any type of emotion.
So Calling it is. You're going to be sharing that with us now.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Started years ago. Oh, I still had you by my side. And now the road seems oh so long now that you're gone. I still need you to walk with me. Hold my hand. I'm gonna need some help. I'm gonna need direction. Heaven hear me, 'cause I'm calling. Ooh, I need some help. I'm gonna need some help. I'm calling. Yeah. 'Cause I'm gonna need a friend. I know that you're gone, but I'm gonna need you to weather the storms. Madiba, Madiba, Never thought of ever losing you, not for a minute, not even for a day. And now I have to stand here all alone and face my fears on my own. Now, oh, Dada, Madiba, how I need you here. Walk with me, 'cause I cannot deal without you in my life. Heaven, please, I'm calling. Da, 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 da.
thank you very much. The sounds of Vusi Nova there. And that's the song Calling from his latest album, which has just been released, called Walk Into Light. So, Vusi, thank you very much for doing that, for sharing it with us. Now, when Madiba was released from Robben Island as a political prisoner, the world watched in anticipation, fearing the worst, as they weren't certain where the new black government under Madiba's leadership would be steering the nation. However, Madiba and his government had opted for freedom, reconciliation and forgiveness for the sake of all South Africa, as expressed in the Freedom Charter. Now, in the studio to join us this evening is Madiba Sisulu, who is a media entrepreneur, and I think we're going to be sharing various angles of the whole mourning process that we're going through at the moment as a country. Madiba, thanks very much for being here. I remember when your grandfather died, Mr. Walter Sisulu, and I remember at the time how sad Madiba was, and he said he'd always hoped that he would be the one to welcome Mr. Walter Sisulu into the gates of heaven. Yes. And yet it was now going to be the other way around. Well, let's hope he was there to welcome his friend Nelson Mandela in.
Well, you know, I'm not quite sure how Mr. Mandela rationalized that, because my late grandfather was always the advanced team. You know, even when they came out of prison, he came out a few months earlier in October '89. So, in many of the conversations we've had about their relationships, you know, it's always been spoken of about how he charted the course first to Johannesburg, set himself up, and they met here in Johannesburg, and he became a mentor to Nelson Mandela. So I'm not sure how Madiba felt he could reverse that cycle.
Okay, so he just had to continue the journey, in other words.
I think he did, and I think maybe he was overcome by grief at the time. They shared a very deep love for each other and a profound friendship that carried them not only through difficult times, but also I think we all celebrate the results of that friendship today. And
it's lovely having you in the studio, because you're on the cusp. You're not a born free, so you haven't sort of truly come through that. You're not a former exile, so you're not in that age group. You're somewhere in the middle, which is quite nice to actually be chatting to somebody in this particular group. You understand what I'm saying? It's either sort of one side or it's that side.
I think I enjoy it just as much as well, because you kind of have the best of both worlds. You have enough of the energy to still make a difference and make an effect change.
And you come along with such with a new perspective. So if we look back now and we look at reconciliation as the process to healing in the country, from your viewpoint, was it the way forward? Could it have been done differently? Has it really worked?
Well, I think it's worked very well. I think, as you know, as a very young nation, as we grow, into our nationhood and start to understand the dynamics of a new nation a little bit better, I think we do tend to be a little oblivious to the strides and the progress we have made. I think we're hypercritical as a nation, and I think that's what makes us so special, is that we are so intent to do better, and we are so driven to be better at being South African, that I think we often are a bit too hard on ourselves.
And maybe get caught up in the negativity.
I think we get caught up. I think there's a lot of issues that weigh South African society down at the moment. I think the passing of Madiba has given us a little bit of space to reflect. I think in the reflection, we have found some truths that have always been there, that we are a great people. We are a special people. We have come through a very special history, and we have been triumphant in our struggles, and we have been triumphant in many struggles. The struggle against apartheid was just one of many. I note even in the national discourse that matters like HIV and AIDS are being addressed very differently today than they were 10 years ago.
So when we talk about continuing with his legacy, what does that mean to you?
Well, continuing with his legacy, I think is really for South Africans to commit themselves to rebuilding South Africa in their personal capacity. I think in our admiration of Mr. Mandela, what we tend to do, which is very incorrect, is that we set him aside or set him apart as a very special being that did very special things. But once upon a time, he was a very ordinary citizen who felt he could make a difference.
And now there seems to be this thought process that we can't do it without him, that there'll never be another Mandela again. So maybe we can continue that discussion when we get back together on these same chairs just now.
Most certainly.
Well, Yiko, thank you. He's not going anywhere, but we will continue our discussion just now. But for now, let's get a look on at what's been happening on the social pages. We invited you, encourage you, please, to share your messages with us. And here on the video wall, just to share some of it with you, we've got a message there from Chetty who says, sad to think that it's the last time Madiba will be at the Union Buildings. A hero, a leader, a legend laid to rest. To think I was one of 100,000 South Africans that had the opportunity to pay my last respects to Madiba is humbling in itself. Heat rash, heat sores, flu. I'd do it all over again. What a moment. I met with him one last time yesterday when Madiba was lying in state. It was in total silence, but I could hear him say, I've left but not gone. 4 a.m. to 1 p.m., but I survived. The energy at the Union Buildings made me so proud to be born in the same country. Please keep those messages coming in. It's so wonderful to share people's thoughts and feelings about what has happened in the last 9 days. And of course, books of condolences all over the country, and that then is our way of sharing our condolences with the country. So keep sending those messages in. Now, before we go to a break, here's a tribute to Madiba.
I was applying in 2003 for the house. It was quite a long wait, but after all these years, they contact us and they said, okay, you can come and get your house now. And they put all the keys in the house. They only give you the number, and they said you have to go and run around to go look for your house. And it was so, challenging. They're running around and now where's my house? Where's my house? And you get it. I walked near the wife walked in here. We're jumping up and down here. And we can't believe that we got this, really, and we appreciate it. Last week on Thursday, when I announced that Mandela was passed away, it was a bit shock because I couldn't believe it that he passed away, because Mandela was a very, very strong person. And he's not a person that you could put him down, because he stands up and he's fight for his rights. And I thought he was become better, but then they announced that Mandela had passed away. And it's a big shock, really. I still couldn't believe it that Mandela is not there anymore.
One thing that made Mandela an extraordinary man, with every situation, he always looked with the heart. And that's why nobody can be like him and nobody can take his place. He was the man that showed the world to look beyond color. And that's the way God will look at everything. And that's why Mandela has so much respect all over the world, even overseas, because of the person he is and the beliefs he had.
And I hope that the country will remember Mandela as the way he was and all the things he was doing for his country. And I hope the people will carry on, keep on doing it, and don't go and sit down and say, okay, now Madiba is not there anymore. We're going to slack down now.